Well, they did it. They banned TikTok. The Supreme Court just banned TikTok. What do you need to know about it? What is the #1 app vying for the crown to replace TikTok? Be sure to stay to the end. I'll share that one with you as well. What is it going to do to your family? How is it going to affect your kids, your teens? What's that going to mean for the app? What does it mean for the future? What's behind this Supreme Court decision to ban TikTok now? When does it go into effect? We're going to dive into it. Hey everyone, Jonathan Morrow here, where I help you understand digital parenting, worldview, and culture. If you're finding these videos helpful, please subscribe, like, share with a friend, follow on Instagram at Refresh Parenting so you can stay up with the latest on everything going on in worldview, culture, and digital parenting. So what does this TikTok ban by the Supreme Court mean for you? And when does it take effect? And how is it going to change the game when it comes to social media and what the next big app is? Let's get into it. So the Supreme Court bans TikTok. What parents must know now. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. There's implications to this, actions that may need to be taken, opportunities for you and your family as moms and dads and teens and your kids and all the things. I want to give you some insight on what this means and how this can affect your family, and honestly, how you can redeem this moment in a positive way. So as you can see, this is the SCOTUS ruling, just came out, and it's going to change the game when it comes to how the social media giants relate to our country and certain security concerns versus First Amendment, freedom of speech, all of those kinds of questions. So what are the big things that you need to know? So the first thing that you need to know is, why was TikTok banned in the first place? First thing is national security concerns over data privacy. This has been a massive conversation, and honestly, the primary driver for why the Supreme Court upheld this decision, but also why they even considered it in the first place. In other videos, we've talked about how Australia has banned social media for kids under 16, did a recent video on that, as well as Florida banning social media that just went into effect January 1st. And now today, the Supreme Court bans TikTok as well. So why are they doing that? National security concerns over data privacy. Even government officials who have TikTok on their phones, your teens, all your data, all your privacy. Second, you've got risks of foreign influence through the app, because I don't know if you know this or not, but TikTok is not an American-owned company. It is owned by China and a parent company there. And so that's a big concern and driver. And the Supreme Court upholds the ban to protect U.S. users from data mining and honestly a lot of other significant concerns that are facing Americans who have TikTok downloaded to their devices. Okay then, so what does this mean for families? Let's get into a few of the details. There will be no new downloads or updates after January 19th, 2025. Yes, you read that correctly. That is happening that fast because of this SCOTUS ruling. Supreme Court of the United States just banned TikTok. It's going to have another intended effect of a gradual obsolescence of TikTok in the United States, which means if this ban goes into effect fully and is upheld by both the current administration and the incoming administration, you're going to see this become more obsolete unless a few things happen, which I'll talk about in just a minute. And you're also going to see a shift in teen social media habits and interactions, because a ton of teens and Gen Z uses TikTok. It's an amazingly popular app. We've done videos on how addictive it is and why parents shouldn't have it on there to begin with. And again, I've shared this before. TikTok is probably my least favorite app for a parent to allow their kid to have. In fact, I wouldn't have it on their phones anyway, much less the privacy concerns and the data scraping and the information compromising of passwords and all the things that come with everything that's being, from a security risk standpoint, from China, the parent company, the owner of TikTok. And so there's another video on that, so be sure to check that out. But this is going to be a massive shift if this really is upheld and enacted. Now, I want to get into what this means for you as a family and the implications for that and how it will affect normal day-to-day activities for your teen and the app and all that. But here's the thing. As I've talked about before, you need to have a plan when it comes to your digital parenting, which is why I really am passionate about offering you a solution of guilt-free digital parenting and making that simple. I do that through my Refresh parenting course on social media, screens, how to do that well, talk about boundaries. It's a very practical online course from busy moms and dads. Look, we got tons going. It's going to help you confidently navigate smartphones, social media, and screen time. You can find out more about that at refreshcourse.net and get access to that. No matter what the trends happen, no matter what changes happen, you have to have a plan as a parent, and I've helped you develop that plan in that course, so definitely check that out. You can also follow on Instagram at Refresh Parenting, where I have little tips and ways for you to stay connected in that Refresh community, to be encouraged and up to date on the latest. Subscribe to this channel on YouTube to stay for the latest as well, and that's going to help you. But go to refreshcourse.net to start building your plan today, because look, this world is shifting and it's shaping the worldview, the hearts and minds of your kids, and you need a plan. It's not just about laws being passed or SCOTUS rulings and everything else. It's a much bigger conversation. I believe it's the number one parenting issue of our day, the number one discipleship issue of our day, and you need to have a plan for that, and I'm here to help. So what kind of impact then is this going to have on mental health? Obviously, again, I've talked about the mind-numbing effects of TikTok and TikTok brain and other videos. It's going to have a potential reduction in exposure to harmful trends of everything from body image issues to gender confusion, progressive worldviews, secularization, all of these ideas that become in many ways social contagion through TikTok, which is a well-documented phenomenon. Also, it's going to have less risk of cyberbullying and screen addiction if you reduce the number one platform TikTok is for teens and for kids getting on that device. That'll have a massive effect as well. And it's also going to give you opportunity to refocus offline activities for your kids, for your family, and maybe even for yourself as you get sucked into the doom scrolling and the infinite conveyor belt, the digital pacifier that is social media. All right. So that's going to have some significant effects as well. What should parents do then? Okay. Here's what you need to do first. Communicate with teens about the ban and its reasons. Just say, hey, this is a good dinner conversation, which is, again, we want to engage our kids around these questions. Hey, did you know that the Supreme Court just banned TikTok? Ask them, why do you think that is? And what do you think about it? And just listen in a judgment-free zone, guilt-free zone to their responses. It'll be very enlightening for you as a parent to see how much they're aware of and what their immediate emotional response is, and then ask them to tell you why they think that and give you some reasons. Another thing is you're going to want to encourage alternative habits and hobbies and offline engagement in light of this. If they're not spending all that time on TikTok, they're going to be doing something else. And so maybe try to put something healthy and redemptive in that moment. You're also going to want to use this as a moment to reassess digital habits. This could be a great reset moment for you. And again, I go into great detail into this in my Refresh course, which is a guide for parents on smartphones and social media and screen time management and all the things, because it's a conversation and a habit and a way of life. It's an approach. And this gives you a great reset opportunity if you'll take advantage of it. And maybe this will allow you to begin to establish some family-wide social media boundaries, as I talk about in Refresh as well. But if you're not having those conversations already, if the government is getting involved at this level, it's worth asking the question, I wonder why that is. And you can use that as a catalyst for some positive change that maybe you've been wanting to introduce in your family all along. Now, this also presents you with some opportunities as a family to cultivate deeper real-world connections. Look, embodied relationships matter. Teens know they spend too much time on their screens. In fact, we all know we spend too much time on our screens. So let's do something different. You're also going to get a chance to talk about and emphasize mental clarity and intentional living. Look, documented studies are coming out over and over and over again about how scrolling is affecting our critical thinking skills and the way we think and our ability to do that. And you can now teach critical thinking about digital consumption. Because let's face it, for the first time, you might be able to have the conversation with them about how and why they consume certain platforms. Maybe there's certain risks. Remember, nothing is free. You either pay for the product or you are the product. And so when it comes to TikTok or anything else, help educate your kids and empower them as you protect them from the harmful effects of TikTok and online engagement and social media. That's going to be a big, important conversation for you to have because, again, TikTok brain is a real thing. It is stealing their attention. They're becoming sad, lonely, depressed, anxious, and this could help. And it's an opportunity put in the public square by the Supreme Court. But what's coming next? You need to be ready for what are the new apps coming your way. And so we'll get to that in just a second, but you need to be able to reclaim focus in the digital world. So how do you do that? This, again, is more than a ban. It's an opportunity for you as a mom or a dad or a parent to have this conversation that honestly you've probably been wanting to have anyway. You can also talk about the importance of protecting privacy and their mental and emotional and spiritual health during this critical formational season of them being teenagers and growing up, and you want them to be healthy and you want them to follow Jesus for a lifetime. So how does that affect their worldview formation as well? You want to help them create healthier digital habits. You want to do that as a family, and you want to strengthen family connections because that's going to improve their mental health, their emotional health, their overall spiritual well-being as well. So are you ready for the new apps that are going to fill the void if TikTok goes away? Well, you got to be ready for the new apps, right? So after TikTok, other platforms will rise in popularity, and it remains to be seen who those are going to be, but you can be assured that that vacuum will be filled by someone or something because there's too much money at stake. Remember this attention economy that we all live in. So which app is going to replace TikTok? Well, indications are that an app also based in China and a Chinese app named Red Note will be maybe the new TikTok. You're already seeing users flock over there, as CBS News put it, as TikTok refugees flock to Red Note. A U.S. official says the Chinese app could be even more of a security risk than TikTok was. And so you want to keep your eye out for that, especially as a mom or a dad. If your child is wanting to download Red Note, be sure to have that conversation as well. And we'll track the developments on that one as well because that's a new development as we see all of this play out with TikTok and the ban by the Supreme Court and what all that's going to look like in terms of the patterns of teens and where they flock to next. Okay, so be ready for that. Stay informed about new trends and apps and teen use. This is a great place to do this. Again, at Refresh Parenting on Instagram, this YouTube channel. But you're going to want to stay up on what is the next thing coming to fill the void created by the absence of TikTok if all of this comes to pass. And you're going to want to talk about app safety, privacy, and mental health impacts of all these different apps. Again, these are opportunities for you to narrate. It doesn't sink in the first time. All they see are the funny dance videos, the things that everybody's talking about, the trends, the cool things, the jokes, the memes. That's what they're focused on. As moms and dads, it's our job to rise above that and look to see what we see that they don't see and have those conversations. And you want to teach critical thinking about all digital formats and platforms, right? Look, it's not as though TikTok is the only thing that's affecting us and our generation and shaping the way we view the news, the world, politics, spirituality, mental health, culture, what we see as normal. So again, these are great opportunities. And again, you need to have a plan. I've built checklists and walkthroughs and everything in my refresh course. Go to refreshcourse.net. I promise you that will serve you well. And I've got some free PDFs you can sign up for with an email to get you started in having the 5 conversations you need to have with your kids about screens and social media if you go to that site as well. So what's the bottom line then? Look, Supreme Court ruling on TikTok ban. What are the details and the key details that as a parent you need to know? It was a unanimous decision. That was a 9-0 ruling in favor of the ban. That's unusual. You don't always get 9-0. Usually it's a split decision for ideological reasons and all the things around constitutional law. In this case, it was clear. It represented a real danger to United States national security and security and privacy for the citizens of the United States. The main legal reason was national security and concerns over data privacy and potential foreign influence on anyone who has that device. All right, and here's some future challenges that we're going to have to pay attention to. Look, likely appeals from TikTok or ByteDance, which is the parent company, unless it's sold to a U.S. company. Now, if it's primarily sold in the United States, which other people have stepped up to provide a lot of money to pay for, that could have significant effect on this conversation as well. It's also going to lead to a debate over government's authority to regulate tech platforms. And again, I am a big proponent of free speech, all opinions, let the best ideas win, but some things are very dangerous and they need to be for adults, not primarily kids in their formational years. We've already talked about that in other videos. This ruling also sets precedent for regulating foreign-owned apps, and it could lead to further scrutiny of similar platforms that may have different combinations of ownership that you need to be aware of, and you need to know that something will fill this void. Look, whether that's Instagram, whether that's something else. Look, Instagram kind of wants to be TikTok when it grows up. That's why Reels are so popular and everything else. But again, something will fill this void. And as a parent, as a mom or a dad, you need to be aware of it, having those conversations, and you need a plan. So again, go to that at refreshcourse.net, build a plan, subscribe, like, share with a friend. Bottom line though, this is a massive cultural moment for a conversation around social media. What is privacy? What is free speech? What's healthy? What's good? And you as a mom or dad need to take the lead in that. And I'm here to help, and I'll see you in the next video.